All right, good evening, everyone. Jason O'Brien here with the former Oscar online radio show. Now you're actually seeing us, which is a first for this prediction special, so I apologize in advance. But this was Garney's idea when I was sitting there thinking, should we still do a show? It's been such a crazy year, and Blog Talk Radio is still having, they insist on jacking up their prices. But then Garney's like, let's do a Zoom. And I'm like, okay. So as usual, Garney's brilliant idea led to me doing more work to prepare the show.
When life gives you 2020.
That's right, exactly. So here we are. This is our 93rd Oscars prediction special, and I'm with the two Johnsons, yes, Garney and Mark. So we're a lot smaller panel this year. Jamie and Chelsea are missing. We send out our love to them. I just think they didn't want to appear on camera. I think it was.
I just think it's great that this Johnson and Johnson has not been paused.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. It's.
I forgot all about that we were doing cameras. So
I know, but as Garney was saying when we started, Mark looks the most professional, which makes sense. Like, look at you. I mean,
I'm in pajamas,
and he's moral, and you're moral too.
From the neck up.
I'm morally something.
He's moral from the neck up. Like he's. I'm thinking that says reprehensible on the part. Oh, flexible. Oh, I like that.
Morally flexible. Morally
flexible. I like it. So yes, so we're doing our prediction special on video this year. So this is going to be a little bit different, but we're still going to go in the order that we have tended to predict, sort of how films get made. But first, Garney, I'm trying to remember back. I think you and I first started doing these prediction specials in 2006. I think it was the year Juno was nominated. I remember.
Yeah. So it was 2007 movies.
Yes.
In 2008.
That's right. Okay. And that was when you first did a medley. And I think that medley lasted maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah. And that's
and
about right.
Yeah.
Well, there were only 5 nominees.
That is true.
And I just did an a cappella, verse, chorus, verse, not even verses, just choruses pretty much.
Yes. And your medley has grown throughout the years. You've done one every year. And so you have graced us with yet another one. So
yes.
We couldn't start an Oscar prediction special without one. Do you want to give us any intro to this one this year? Some years you give us an apology.
Well, in this one, you'll notice it, the background track goes down a little bit at one point because one of the songs I picked, I couldn't find something that didn't have the background vocals that don't match my vocals. So it wouldn't make sense for me to fight over,
Yes.
Out here in no man's land. It's just,
yeah. I thought that was something you were going to fix, but I figured there was something purposeful. You had a reason for it.
And I realized not everyone is a huge Billy Joel fan like me that would recognize that's No Man's Land, which is the opening track of his album River of Dreams.
Yes, very true.
Not exactly a greatest hits track.
Right.
Okay, without further ado, let's have another medley from Garney this year to open the show.
It's a wonderful night for Oscar, Oscar, Oscar. Who will win? The 8 films nominated for Best Picture at the 93rd Annual Academy Awards, in no particular order, starting with what's going to win. I've seen all 8 movies competing for Oscar's biggest prize. Did some obsessing to determine what I could surmise. In a pandemic, they nominate films that deal with grief. Even if lack of plot leaves viewers asking, where's the beef? Get those scenes shot during magic hour. See you other movies down the road. This year's winner is a foregone conclusion. Put the Oscar in Chloe Zhao's hand for directing Nomadland. Another Oscar goes to McDormand. Best Picture Nomadland for Best Bucket Pooping in a Van. The winner's Nomadland. 1980s Arkansas a fresh start growing Korean vegetables. Share a room with your grandma. She'll steal the movie, watch her now, learn her name. She doesn't act like any old grandma, but she'll bring all your spirits up. So don't pee in her cup, she's you, ya Jung. Water from a mountain, nope, it's pee. But your grandma still comes to your defense. Near the creek she'll plant greenery. She takes the trash out, lights a fire, watch it grow. She's burning down the family business. All the crates inside the barn that your father farmed, she's you, ya Jung. Oh, you, ya Jung. And sometimes you realize that you like grandma the way she is, like you, ya Jung. There's an actor that we've all adored, and he's winning every last award for a performance that'll put a shiver through ya. He ignites the screen and catches fire in Judas and the Black Messiah, and the Oscar will go to Daniel Kaluuya. Daniel Kaluuya. Daniel Kaluuya. Daniel Kaluuya. Daniel Kaluuya. His time on the drums has to come to an end. He knows his ears have shut down. He can't play any more new shows. If you enjoy inner turmoil and long takes of silent depression, then this might just be the movie for you. But otherwise, it will seem like a long therapy session. Riz Ahmed goes deaf during Sound of Metal. Paul Racy just wants him to sit and think. The audience that watches Sound of Metal might feel compelled to heavily drink. Carey Mulligan is in position to win Best Actress. She's really something. She scared McLovin and left him speechless. So pay attention, use apprehension when analytic. She'll come back biting, just ask varieties, sexist film critic. This is the kind of movie that you'll find can apply to #MeToo. Will Best Picture be Promising Young Woman? Screenplay, director, film editing too. Will Best Actress be Carey Mulligan? Or will Viola win her number 2? He keeps forgetting where he put his wristwatch. He keeps forgetting which actress is really his daughter. He keeps forgetting if the flat's really his. We're just watching the father Anthony Hopkins. There's no acting quite like yours. Clarissa's hello. I'm sorry you have Alzheimer's. In the Two Popes, you wore a funny hat. And in this one, you just wander around your flat. But are you really there? My kind of trial, Chicago 7. That writing style, Aaron Sorkin. He loves them politics. His usual bag of tricks. And oh, what a cast, Chicago 7. Talking so fast, just like Sorkin. Not quite the way that history went. Borat can't do a Boston accent. But with Sorkin, the film is equipped with my kind of script. All right, let's do some predictions. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, one more movie left, guys. Sorry. Jamie Duvall, this one's for you, buddy. Wish you were here. Last year felt like forever, and this Oscar season so long. I covered 7 films in this medley so far. There's just one left, then I'll finish this song. He wrote the script that became Citizen Kane. He wrote the script and drank himself insane. He wrote the script, didn't leave one page blank. He's named Herman, but let's call him Mank. Because that's the name of the film, too. Portrayed by Gary Oldman, this movie bored me to tears. When Mank was the same age as Oldman, he had already been dead for 8 years. We watched the film so that we can predict how many Oscars will be won by Netflix. We watched the films then posted on Facebook. Top 20 lists, go take a look. Now it's time to start the Zoom from the comfort of our own rooms. We'll predict the winners in all 23 categories. Oscars are Sunday, and Oscar is the way. We've got Mark on the line, the same last name as mine, and your host, Jason O'Brien. We watch the films that no one else would see. Mark watched the films and wrote for Awards Daily. I watched the films and wrote this dumb medley. We watched the films, we watched the films. We watched the films, and this year it's just us 3. Quick shout out to our friends Chelsea and Jamie. They watch the films, but they cannot be here. Now let's predict what wins this year. It's the Oscars, and we're rarely wrong.
Well done, Garney. That was another amazing. I'm constantly like, I just love some of the choices seem so obvious, you know, like what was the one, the Sinatra one, you know, and
My Kind Town, Chicago stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and just today I realized a better rhyme for when it talks about he loves his politics. I'm hate that I missed Trial of Chicago 1 through 6.
Good. Well, and I think my favorite one that seemed perfect too was Sound of Music for Sound of Metal, you know, so I thought that was good. So yes, another good medley to get us started, I must say. Well done.
Thank you.
Yes. And especially for the special, you know, dedication to Jamie with that final, Barry Manilow.
I miss you, Duvall.
We miss you, man. We really do. All right, so let's get this started. We got predictions to do. So we always get started with the screenplay category, since that's all movies usually begin with the screenplay. So let's take a look at the nominees for Best Original Screenplay.
Shit. We almost got into it with a rad over a parking space. I bet y'all babies getting the same bullshit education. Y'all paying the same taxes to get your heads whooped in by the same motherfucking pigs. Ain't that a trip? We pay them, huh? We pay the pigs to run us off of our corners.
내가 잘할게.
엄마, 이런 총구석까지 와서 그렇게 말씀 안 하셔도 돼요.
아니 여기서 왜 또 총구석이 나와?
총구석에 사니까 얘가 배우는 게 없어서 버르장머리가 없잖아.
당신은 서울 여자다 이거지? 폰 사람보다 더 잘났다 이거 아니야?
별걸 다 갖고 싸운다.
It was years ago.
What would you say? What would you say?
Ugh. A little weird.
Would you roll your eyes behind her back and dismiss the whole thing as drama?
I don't know why you're mad at me. Okay, I'm not the only one who didn't believe it. If you have a reputation for sleeping around, then maybe people aren't going to believe you when you say something's happened. I mean, it's crying wolf.
You thought.
Does it have to be writing? Writing, yes. No drawing. Writing, yes. And if sometime in the future it feels like it's a little bit too difficult for you, you should come and find me. I'll be in my apartment, doing the same thing as you, okay, Ruben? I'll be writing too.
Oh my God. So they're not going to think of equality or justice. They're not going to think of education or poverty or progress. They're going to think of a bunch of stone-lost, disrespectful, foul-mouthed, lawless losers. And so we'll lose elections.
All because of me.
Yeah.
And winning elections, that's the first thing on your wish list.
Equality, justice, education, poverty, and progress, they're second. If you don't win elections, it doesn't matter what's second.
All right, so I'll get us started in this category. This one I think is one of the ones that I'm pretty confident in, because there's a couple categories. I was talking to Mark ahead of time that I'm even as I'm sitting here, it's a category we'll get to later that I am struggling mightily with, and I might still change it in the course of the show. But original screenplay, I'm feeling pretty good that this is Promising Young Woman. I think it's a great screenplay, and I think it's maybe the one place to really honor Emerald Fennell for it. So yeah, I don't really see any other screenplay winning here. So yeah, I got to go with Promising Young Woman. What do you think, Garney?
I agree. It's Promising Woman. It should be Promising Young Woman. They're going to get this one right. The I think a lot of people think that Aaron Sorkin is the next one in there with Trial of Chicago 7, but I think that we are undervaluing the impact that Minari will have in this category. I think if there is a surprise here, I think it goes Minari.
But you'll predict Promising Young Woman.
Oh yeah, Promising Young Woman all the way.
Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, both both screenplay categories are really tough this year for some reason. Like I'm struggling on both. I'm going also with Promising Young Woman. I think, you know, the WGA going to Promising Young Woman over Trial of Chicago 7 kind of started the for Trial, which at the time kind of was poised to be a big contender against probably Nomadland. And then BAFTA followed suit. So yeah, I have Promising Young Woman, but I'm not confident on it.
Okay. All right. Now we have the original screenplays, and then we have the screenplays based on materials from other mediums. So here are the nominees for adapted screenplay.
Finding Tutar, Jim and Jerry found ways to cheer me up.
I wrote a song for you last night so you can play for us. It's called the Chinese Virus Song.
Obama was a traitor.
America, he did hate her.
Yeah. America, he hate her.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's good. I like
that's
that.
good.
Say you can put him in jail.
You must put him in jail.
Yep.
Is he in jail?
No, but I hope so soon.
Why are you laughing?
Sorry.
I know who she reminds me of.
Who?
It's Lucy when she was younger.
Lucy?
Yeah, my other daughter. That's right. There's a resemblance, don't you think?
Yeah, maybe.
Yes. Yes. Her unbearable habit of laughing inanely. I had you there, didn't I?
Religion. That kind of loss is never easy, and I wish I had an easy answer for you, but I think you've come to the right place to find an answer. I think connecting to nature and to a real true community and tribe will make all the difference for you. I hope so.
It's nice, ain't it, Malcolm?
Yeah, it's most definitely soothing, Cass. The air up here is cooler.
Far away from the prying eyes of your G-men.
Yeah, you joke all you want, Sam. I'm telling you, it's got worse since the tension between me and Mr. Muhammad. I met with a writer in New York a few weeks back. There were two guys following us through the airport. I swear it was the same two.
I thought you didn't trust writers.
No. This one was a brother, and well, this meeting was important. I figure I better start getting my life story documented in my own words while I can.
As you gain confidence, cruise around picking up and dropping off paying customers. Delhi has many pickup points. Over time, you will learn them all. When I looked at that cash, I didn't feel guilt. I felt rage.
All right, Garney, why don't you get us started on this one?
This one's tougher than original. And it's surprising to say that because in the beginning I thought, oh, easily Nomadland.
Yeah.
But The Father just came out at the right time and the momentum is building. And I think that if the Academy wants to spread the awards like they do normally, this is where The Father would win. So I'm sticking with Nomadland as my prediction, but The Father certainly hedging my bet.
All right, Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, I have the same order. I in the end I stuck with Nomadland, but I don't feel good about it. I really love the script for The Father, one of my favorite screenplays of the year. So yeah, I think if Florian Zeller, the director of The Father, would have been nominated for a director instead of Vinterberg for another round, I think that would be the tell that makes I would probably have gone The Father, but yeah, Nomadland for now.
Now, do you see? I was struggling with. I thought Borat might actually win this, which I'm still kind of surprised that it's in this category because I thought so much of it was like improv. And besides, I kind of wanted to see like 80 screenwriters get up there to to claim this prize.
Yeah.
I mean, and it won what, the Writers Guild?
Yeah, that's all it won.
Okay,
But you have to remember the father and Nomadland were
not
ineligible.
that one,
Not
that's correct.
eligible.
Okay, good. You're making me feel better then, because I did pick Nomadland. I do think it will win here. So, and this was one of the ones that I felt pretty good about. So I'm glad that you guys didn't make me feel, because a lot of these years I feel good coming into this, and then you guys make me feel horrible.
That's how it usually goes.
It usually goes, and I'm sure you'll do it to me at some point, especially as we get into these categories. So next we kind of group in like some of the different films. We have documentaries, we have short films, animated films, and of course international films. So let's get started with Best Documentary Feature.
Deci, practic, ei au ascuns lucrurile astea, da? Dacă nu spunem lucrurilor pe nume, suntem complici. Povestea e atât de halucinantă încât mi-e teamă că o să părem nebuni.
I wanted to be part of the world, but I didn't see anyone like me in it. I hear about a summer camp for the handicapped run by hippies. Somebody said you probably will smoke dope with the counselors, and I'm like, sign me up.
Come to Camp Jeanette and find yourself.
There I was in Woodstock.
You wouldn't be picked to be on a team back home, but at Jeanette, you had to go up to bat.
Even when we were that young, we helped empower each other. It was allowing us to recognize that the status quo is not what it needed to be.
A mí me está contratando una hija. Cree que a su madre adentro la están maltratando, que le están robando. Entonces tú vas a ser mis ojos. Yeah. Todo me sirve. Los baños están asquerosos, que la enfermera, cachuchazo, y escobazo, qué sé yo, todo me lo informa.
Informe de hoy, miércoles 29.
What she taught me was to feel that you're part of this place, not a visitor. That's a huge difference.
Many of these people have no respect for other human beings' lives. No matter how sane or how understanding you try to be, it just will make you lose your absolute mind. You know how hard I'm gonna be smiling when you come home? Success is the best revenge. Success is the best revenge. You're gonna show them that they can't treat human life this way. Success is the best revenge. Just hang in there, because when you get them home, they gonna pay, they gonna pay, they gonna pay.
All right, Mark. So some good nominees this year for documentary features. What do you think?
Yeah, a lot of good ones. A lot of good ones that were not nominated too. It was a really good year for docs. One of my favorite movies of the year, though, is My Octopus Teacher. For a while, this looked like a close race that could have gone multiple ways. Collectives nominated not only here but in international feature. Crip Camp.
Isn't this the second year in a row? The second year in a row now we've had a documentary.
I think so.
Yeah,
Honeyland,
in both category.
Yeah, right. And Crip Camp has the Obamas behind it, which we saw their film American Factory, I think it was called, win last year. Time for the longest period I thought was going to win this. The critics, like every critics group, went for that film. It seemed like, or at least recognized it, nominated it. But in the end, I'm going with my favorite, which is My Octopus Teacher.
All right. Yeah, I got to agree with you here. Even though I must shamefully admit I have not seen all of The Octopus Teacher. I started watching it. It was late at night. The movie did not put me to sleep. I put myself to sleep. So, but I will watch the rest of it. And I do have it. Like you said, I thought Time was going to be the winner here, but everything that I was reading about My Octopus Teacher and you guys like loving it so much. So I think it should win. And I hope we're remember for a lot of years, this category always pissed us off. It was never a documentary that we thought would win or deserve to win. And then some didn't even get nominated that we thought should be. I'm hoping that finally they're kind of getting, and at least get one that really deserves it. So,
I mean, they got it right with the OJ Made in America. I mean, there have been the exceptions, but I mean, this year it's like, will My Octopus Teacher win? Only time will tell.
Hey, that's pretty good. See, that's Jamie's usual spot. Like he gets those kind of jokes in here.
So but yeah, My Octopus Teacher, just it's a force to be reckoned with. And so I do the Gold Derby challenge, and I got in there with 37-1 odds for My Octopus Teacher. So
Really?
I put the super bet on that, 500 points. That might shoot me up a couple hundred points in the ranks.
Nice. All right, so we have all three of us in agreement so far in the first three categories. So we have documentary feature, and we have documentary short subject. So let's take a look at those nominees.
Voilà. Quand tu seras centenaire, tu sais, une vieille dame, tu auras ça, tu diras, ah oui, quand j'étais jeune, j'avais été.
I got a few more years to go, but I'm almost to the top. 10 more years, I'll be at the top.
The film covers the mass marches against the extradition law, the movement's gradual descent into violence, and protesters' increasing desperation in the lead up to Beijing's passing of the national security law.
يفكر على إنه ربما إن إذا استمرت الحرب أن نفقد كل الأطفال.
I know she'd be married by now. She loved the fellas. She probably would have 3 kids by now. She'd be an awesome mother.
All right, so I'll get us started here. I have not seen any of these. I've seen portions of a couple and the trailers. And I keep using, I think it wasn't Jamie's theory on if there's a colon in the title, but we don't have any colons this year. So I'm kind of messed up on what. So from what I've heard and from the trailers that I've seen, I'm going with the concerto as a conversation. I thought what I've seen from that looks really beautiful. And of the five, I think that was the one that I want to watch the most.
I'm also going with the concerto as a conversation. I think that there's this I'm deciding between that and a love song for Latasha. And ultimately I'm going with concerto as a conversation because it is a more interesting title for the people that want to vote that haven't seen them all like you. And
I'm one of those.
Also,
voters.
it's a very optimistic documentary short without glazing over the fact of where it came from. And so I think I think we're ready to see something that gets awarded that's not just all about how all the terrible things are with slavery and the Holocaust. Normally Colette would be the one that would win, because anytime anything has anything to do with the Holocaust, it would win.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that this year Colette is one that's about a French resistance fighter instead of technically a Holocaust like internment camp survivor. It was her brother that was taken away. And it is an interesting journey, definitely. It still definitely deserves a nomination, but I think for the time of where the nation is at right now, Concerto as a Conversation is the one that needs to win.
Now, see, yours was a much better explanation than mine was, so it's good that I got cut off.
Well, I've seen all five.
And you've seen them all. Yeah. Mark, what about you?
Yeah, I've also seen all five, and even the shortlisted ones that didn't make the cut. All 10 of these films were really good, and I would recommend them to anybody that enjoys docs or doc shorts. The Speed Cubers was my favorite of that group. And
yeah,
damn it, that's the one I had winning, and it's out. So my second favorite was a concerto, is a conversation, and everything Garney just said. I think that's what keeps Love Song for Latasha also in the mix. Those are the two most timely.
Very nice. All right, so now let's go to, since we're in the categories of short films, we'll go to the nominees for Best Live Action Short Film.
I feel your touch in my sleep. You are in my breaths of air. You are all the beams of sunshine that ever touch my skin.
طيب بابا طيب ولا شيء مش مشكلة بنحل يلا نمشي
تمام اشترى
תפתח עכשיו.
לא פותח.
מה זה לא פותח?
זה אופניים שלו.
עזוב אותי, הוא גנב לי.
All right, so Garney, why don't you get us started here?
I really liked the live action short films this year. I saw all of these as well. I think it was 2 years ago where like the common theme was kids in trouble. Like that's all of them had to do with like something terrible happening to a kid. And this year we actually there's some there's still a lot of heavy subject matter in there, of course. I don't think this is a very easy prediction to make because there's a case for all of them, really. But I'm going with Two Distant Strangers for the same Black Lives Matter feel that has that's right there. It's very well made, it's very entertaining, and it ends very powerfully. With Netflix getting behind it at the last minute there, I think that's enough to give it the Netflix bump that it needs.
All right, Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, not to bore the audience, but yeah, I agree. I have Two Distant Strangers. I didn't realize Netflix picked it up, and I just caught it the other night that it was on there, so I watched it, and it's pretty good, and it sticks with you. And like Garney said, and like we talked about the last one, it's probably the most timely nominee of any film this year, perhaps. So that's the one I went with as well.
And I hate to be the one that goes with the only one that I saw. You know, but thankfully it was Two Distant Strangers. That's the one that I'm picking. Yeah, like
Feeling Through is pretty good.
The which one?
Feeling Through is pretty good too. If you
get
a chance to see that.
Again, I've seen clips and the trailers. It looked really, really powerful, and I thought that could be one that also. But I really enjoyed Two Distant Strangers, and I think.
Yeah, Feeling Through is on YouTube. The only one that I wasn't able to catch online was White Eye. I actually went to the full screening and watched all 4 of them a second time just so I could see Wide Eye a first time, which was really good. The Present is also on Netflix. And The Letter Room, starring Oscar Isaac, you can sign up for a trial to Topic, and watch that way.
All right, there you go. All right, so let's get to the category for Best Animated Short Film.
Je vais rester assise. Attendre un peu. Un signe.
Yeah. All right, Mark, what do you think here?
I hate to be again a broken record, but you know, If Anything Happens, I Love You is about a school shooting, and we've had a lot of shootings in the last few days and weeks. So again, very timely, very powerful, very rough movie to watch, but I think it ultimately wins.
All right. I picked that one as well. I haven't seen these, but from reading about them and from what I saw, just the animation style too, I thought was really beautiful. So yeah, I'm going with that too. Garney?
This would have been much more difficult to predict if they had nominated Out from Pixar instead of just Burrow. But I think it is going to be If Anything Happens, I Love You. This is really, this is actually good that our Zoom is boring, because I think most of Zooms are boring for people that use it on a daily basis. Yes. I will say that opera is really fascinating, and I would love to see it on a huge wall, because it's supposed to be like an art installation piece. Eric Oh, the Korean animator who worked for Pixar and then went out on his own. He directed The Dam Keeper. He was the animation director of The Dam Keeper. He's definitely going to win this award someday. just not this year.
It's not this year. Damn, I wonder if this is, have we had this much agreement this early in the show? Like,
I mean, it's surprising.
Maybe if we had limited it to only 3 people, but with 5, there was a lot of times would be 1 person.
That's true.
5 that would go rogue.
That's true.
We'll
like,
we'll get to some in a
like
minute.
Lincoln for production design, which I was the only one who predicted, by the way. All right.
Still holding on to that. 8
I'm
years
holding
later.
on to that, man. It's like,
Damn you, Life of Pi.
that's what I'm always going to point to is like, this is what makes me such a great predictor. All right. So let's get to the cat. Well, we're probably all going to agree on this one as well. The best animated feature film category.
We might be out of gas.
But it says we have a full tank.
No, that doesn't work. Growth spell. We grow the can, and then the gas inside will grow with it. Elbows up.
I'm trying to focus here.
Focus.
Holy, forget it.
It worked! The can is huge! And the van is huge! And you're... Oh no.
Hey Chung, I'm gonna be there soon. In my rescue to the moon.
She's a little curious. But above all, she's a little lost.
Papa?
To get her back home, we'll take one small step for Lamb. One giant leap
Zum zum.
for Lambkind.
This is where new souls get their personalities, quirks, and interests before they go to Earth.
Meet 22.
I don't want to go to Earth.
Stop fighting this.
I don't want to. Okay, look, I already know everything about Earth, and I don't want anything to do with it.
You're missing out on the joys of life, like pizza. I can't smell. We can't taste either.
All that stuff is in your body.
No smell, no taste.
Or touch. See?
You have to leave. No way, I scared him off.
All right. So yeah, I don't think this is probably one of the easiest predictions to make. This is probably the first one I marked. This will be Soul. I mean, it's Disney and Pixar again. And it's not just because it's Disney and Pixar, but it's actually a really great film, really beautiful film, so beautifully animated. So I don't see anything else winning in this category. Garney, what do you think?
Soul.
Plain and simple. Mark?
Yeah.
Not much to say on this one.
No,
I agree, Soul.
We'll save the discussion for where it's interesting.
Yeah. All right. So let's go to the category for Best International.
Er I fuld?
Nej, det er vi ikke.
Forklar det for børnene, hvad som har hændt.
Jeg blev lidt fuld i går.
Jeg har hele tiden synes, det var fint, at I eksperimenterede alt muligt, men det her, det er åndssvagt.
Jeg går ikke ud fra, at der er nogen her, der har et problem, jeg skal vide noget om.
高考完，我就变成大人了。但是
从来没有一节课教过我们如何变成他人。
我完美了！
做得到吗？
想试试。
那说好了，你保护世界，我保护你。
Sunt ministrul sănătății. Dar primul lucru pe care trebuie să-l faci ca să câștigi sau să recâștigi încrederea cuiva este să încetezi să-l minți.
Omor oameni. Nu ne putem permite treaba asta.
Și cum ne poate rezolva chestia asta?
Și noi am avut o încredere oarbă în autorități. În momentul în care presa ajunge să facă referențe autoritățile se vor purta rău cu oameni, cetățeni. Întotdeauna se întâmplă asta pe net în lume, s-a întâmplat și în cazul nostru.
La deșert la casă?
Finissez les clés جوزتي. المفروض انا وياك نقلب صفحه يعني.
4 million, ladies and gentlemen. You're a free man, Sam.
No, I'm a dead man.
The base in an orderly fashion.
What is the point of having an ultimatum if you don't deliver?
Vesme, možeš mi povesti moje sinove iz baze?
I da ubiće i Srbija koji nađu. Ubiće i mene.
Colonel Karamans, they are killing people outside. What difference does it make whether the Serbs kill us or you do?
All right, so Garney, what do you think here?
I think this is just as easy as the animated feature. It's definitely another round. You got a nomination for director. It's the best one in there. I will say this and original song are the only categories where I have not seen all the movies. And in that category, it's also because there's a foreign language nomination. So I've seen everything in English that's nominated. And in this one, I haven't got around to Quo Vadis Aida or The Man Who Sold His Skin.
Which looks really interesting, by the way.
Yeah. And which just became available video on demand. And Quo Vadis you can watch on Hulu. I just haven't sat down to watch it yet. But yeah, another round. Deservedly so.
Mark, what do you think?
Agree. That's it.
Yeah, I gotta agree on this one too. Like, great concept to the film, and again, it's the only one I've seen in the categories, so I got to go with it there too. But see, fortunately, I'm seeing the ones that may win, so I'm feeling a little better about that. So
you've seen what matters.
Exactly. Now let's get to one of the acting categories, and this one is for Best Supporting Actress.
Mr. Mayor, can you say something? Can you say something?
Yes, I'm fine.
Yeah, the sound is perfect.
It's probably better if I stay in.
No, please. If I need you, I will call you. Sure. You will be in the lobby, right? I'm so sorry. That's
Relax,
horrible.
Sit. Okay.
I'm so sorry for that. Really, apologize.
Apology accepted. No problem.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. Thank you again for giving me this time.
Shall we have a drink in the bedroom?
Oh, I thought your mama was gonna be all right. Be happy. Do good. But she got tore up around here. She just up and quit. She just stopped trying. I know. I could have done better. But you got to decide. You want to be somebody or not?
Sorry, dear. I may as well tell you now. I'm not leaving this flat anytime soon. I'm going to outlive you. Both of you. I don't know about you, but my daughter, yes.
I'm really very sorry about this. You weren't kidding when you said he had his ways. I'm really sorry. Don't be. That sort of reaction's quite normal. It'll be all right. Do you think?
Marion, I need a favor. It's just a little joke on Willie.
Sure, Mank, anything.
I want you to go back and tell Mayor Willie wants the phony Sinclair films pulled.
Which phony Sinclair films?
There isn't time to explain. I just need you to tell him that.
Oh, I couldn't, not even as a joke.
Why not?
You know I don't lie.
And that's why he'd believe you. Marion, please, you're not in convent school anymore.
I'm sorry, I know it's silly, but...
But what? Why not?
Promise you won't laugh.
I promise I won't laugh.
My exit.
What?
I already made my exit.
오케이. 자, 걸어봐. 아이고, 스트롱 보이. 스트롱 보이. 왜? 이런 소리 처음 들어봤어? 데이비사, 너는 스트롱 보이야. 할머니가 본 사람 중에서 제일 스트롱 보이야.
할머니,
어?
피피는 무슨 맛이에요?
빵알루미.
All right, so Mark, what do you think here?
Oh, I so badly want to take Lynn Close, but and actually I had her winning it the whole season, waiting for SAG, and when SAG didn't go her way, that's when I gave up the fight. I do have her as the upset pick because the only person I can see beating, and I'm terrible with pronouncing his name, Yu Jung-yoon from Minari.
I'm glad you pronounced it first.
I think that's how you say it.
Well, you actually say Yoon Yo-jung because of the Korean.
Okay.
Kind of like Bong Joon-ho. Yoon Yo-jung.
There you go.
Okay.
You learn things. From
yeah. So I went with Yoon, but I do think Lynn Close has a ghost chance on that one.
Okay, let me ask you something. Like, I have not seen Hillbilly Elegy, and I could not bring myself to watch it. Is she really that good in it? I mean, is this the first time that like someone's been nominated for an Oscar and a Razzie for the same performance?
No, it's not the first time that we've got the double Oscar Razzie. There were a couple other times.
Okay.
I read an article, but I can't remember off the top of my head what those were.
Was it Sandra Bullock, maybe?
No, she just won in the same year, but it was for a different movie. It was the year that she won for Blindside. She also won the Razzie for the All About Steve, I think is what it was.
Okay. See, that's why I wondered if for the same performance, if they had been nominated in the same category. Because I was going to predict Glenn Close too, just because I thought, okay, now it's going to be this chance to finally give Glenn Close an Oscar.
Well, that's why though. Like for me, like with these, I look at the 5 nominated, and they're all good, but no one really screams like, that's the performance like we have in maybe some of these other categories. And that's why I thought, I mean, Close is good in Hillbilly Elegy, but it would be like a good opportunity to reward her for her career, which they haven't done really in a while, but they used to do.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I've got to go also with Yai Jung-yoon. I know you guys just said it. Yeah, her winning SAG too, I think, kind of cemented it. And I think it's a great place to honor Minari.
Yeah.
And for a while, I was thinking maybe Maria Bakalova could possibly win for Borat, but I just, with SAG, that kind of cemented it for me. So, Garney, what do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be Yoon Yo-jung. I was trying to find the other Oscar Razzie thing, but someone else will. I think though that if it's not her, I think it's because it's Bakalova. I think Maria Bakalova feels like she could be the Marissa Tomei of this year, except more interesting. And she's just the big breakout of the year. It's sort of, there's something fitting to her winning, but it should be and will be Yoon Yo-jung.
Yeah, I think so too. So that is like 9 categories, and we're all in agreement. Like, so something's gonna happen soon. I can just feel
Feeling good about our chances.
I know. We are all 9 for 9 categories in agreement, which is kind of scary. But I have a feeling maybe in these next 4 categories, maybe we will have some disagreement.
Oh, and by the way, the Raspberry Oscar, the same people, James Coco, Only When I Laugh, and Amy Irving, Yentl.
Damn. Okay, so it's been a while.
Yeah.
Okay. Look at you.
Nice.
Downtime. Downtime stat check.
All right, so these next 4 categories are all about like the different look of the film: production design, costume design, makeup, hairstyling, and of course, cinematography. So let's begin with the nominees this year for production design.
Oh. What's the matter?
Nothing. Okay. I'll get dinner ready.
Anne.
What?
Thank you for everything.
I just put a lot of focus into coming up with what those sets were going to be. Just giving every space, I just wanted everywhere we looked in those 2 rooms to have life. Getting the details right so that then they can just recess into the background and then let the actors do what they do. George said something to me once that he wanted the basement to evoke the hull of a slave ship. That was another thing that, obviously I researched. It's like, all right, what is that? What's the shape of that? What's it feel like? What could I take that would translate? And the day the actors walked onto the set, I told Viola that, and she just sort of, her head went down, and she just thought about that for a long time.
LA doesn't preserve its history very well, especially with architecture. But what it does preserve, you have to go there. And the great thing about David actually is that we scouted early, and we would go there and be very specific about what areas we'd see and what areas we wouldn't see. The Glendale train station, I believe, was from the period, and that was something that was actually story correct. They would leave for San Simeon from the Glendale train station. Others, we had to take license and construct the spaces and the environments in order to make the history of the story work.
Well, it was hard because we shot it all in Santa Fe, and it all had to be 30 miles around Santa Fe. So we had to find, landscape that replicated 400 miles of landscape, which changes dramatically in Texas. So it turned out to be, we were able to find it, which I was really kind of worried about. But and then we ended up doing 3 towns in one. So it was a lot of planning about how to come into the town for each city, so that you protected certain parts for another town. We kind of talked a lot beforehand, knowing how it get changed, because we had like 6 days between each changeover to make it into a new town.
The international component of Tenet is very important to the story because it's really about threat to the entire world.
Chris always envisioned this film as a sort of globe-trotting action epic, and obviously the best way to do that is to actually travel yourself.
It definitely plays into the sort of scope of the film. It enlarges the canvas.
We were going places during the busiest times, summer in Amalfi, monsoon season in India.
Prep on this film was really complicated because we were based out of LA and making plans for all these huge action set pieces all over the world.
We shut down an 8-kilometer freeway for 3 weeks, had hundreds and hundreds of extras and cars and stuntmen driving on it, doing great action.
All right, and I'll get us started in this one. So this one, this is one of the ones I'm having a lot of difficulty with. I want to predict Mank because I think it's the one category where Mank has a chance of winning. And I know I loved Mank a lot more than you did, Garney. Mark, you kind of seem to like Mank. Because you had it.
This is my top 10 of the year.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. But above all else, even because I understand all the kind of arguments against Mank, I can see why people don't respond to the film. But one of the things that I love about it is the production design and the cinematography. But the way it evoked that time period was just beautiful. I could just sit there and just watch the production design. And so I'm hoping it wins, but I don't know. I feel like Ma Rainey's Black Bottom could win here. I just felt like the way that they made those just a film that takes place in a couple rooms. And if you watch some of the material on how they were going to do the production design on that film, it's really pretty interesting. But and I could see a case for even Tenet winning here. But I'm going to go with Mank. I hope it wins. So Garney, what do you think?
I think this is clearly the one award that Mank has the best shot at winning. And I think it also has a good shot in cinematography, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
But the one that you didn't mention that should win this award that I think could be the surprise winner is The Father, since the production design plays such a big part. You haven't even seen it.
Well, I haven't
and
seen
I feel like, and I hate talking about it because I feel like I'm going to spoil something for you.
But this was the one, yeah, I know.
But just know that what The Father does, putting you in his state of mind, and the production, his flat changing throughout very subtly. It starts out very subtle and then gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's done seamlessly. It's just I was hoping it would get in because I didn't know how well The Father would be received, whether it made it to enough viewers in time.
Right.
So I think that if people just really don't like Mank, but I don't think that's the case. I think enough people like Mank that this will be the award that it gets. And I'm torn. If I had to vote between Mank and The Father, it would be a really close call for me as well.
So you're predicting Mank? I'm
predicting Mank, yeah.
Okay. What about you, Mark?
Here's a cool stat that means just about nothing.
Finally a stat from Mark.
Finally a stat, right? I had to get a couple in here. This
Yeah.
one, I don't think it means anything. It's just interesting. The film with the most overall nominations has won this Oscar 11 times in 20 years, which is, pretty good percentage.
That is.
For one film to have led, and Mank led all nominees with 10. That's not why I'm taking it, but interesting little stat to back up that the fact that it'll likely win, and won the Art Directors Guild, Set Directors, and BAFTA as well. So yeah, great sets. I like Tenet, and I like The Father here as well, but I think Mank wins it.
All right. Yet again, we agree. All right, let's get to the category of Best Costume Design. All right, Garney, what is going to win Best Costumes?
This one's tough for me in the decision between Emma and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I think, especially going with the last year Little Women one, which would make me think, oh, Emma is closer to that. But Little Women was also a Best Picture nominee. Not that Ma Rainey is a Best Picture nominee, but Ma Rainey felt closer to a Best Picture nominee. Ma Rainey has more nominations, right? And it just the costuming specifically on Viola Davis just really helps bring the character out. I think that's going to get the award. So I'm going Ma Rainey on this.
All right, Mark.
Yep, I agree, Ma Rainey.
Yeah, I got to agree too. And this is one I think really deserves it. Like you said, the costuming it's just beautiful, even if it's just for Viola Davis. Yeah, like Emma, for so many years, it was always that kind of traditional, that was kind of the traditional winner for costume design. But I think for sure it wins here. So no contest.
I mean, for Chadwick Boseman's shoes alone.
Oh gosh, I know. Yeah, it's such an element in the film. It's like, all right. Well, let's get to the category of best makeup and hairstyling. All right, Mark, what do you think here?
Ooh, I have Ma Rainey's, but I really like the makeup in Pinocchio the most. It's hard for me to think that Ma Rainey's going to win all the Oscars we have it winning if it missed Best Picture. Like, I mean, I think based on what I'm predicting, I have it, I think, tied for the most on the night. So I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere where I have Ma Rainey that it misses, and I could see Pinocchio taking it, but I took Ma Rainey.
Okay. Yeah, I got to agree here too. I think this is another one that's pretty easy. I feel pretty good about. And just again, all the great work that evoked this time period, and then the work on all the actors, I think is amazing. So, yeah, the only one that I maybe was looking at is maybe Hillbilly Elegy for how they made Glenn Close look that way, but yeah, I think it's Ma Rainey. Garney.
Well, I hate to break the streak, guys. Actually, I don't hate to break the streak.
Oh, you're breaking the streak.
But I'll lay this stat on you.
Okay.
Last year was the first time since the 90s when a Best Picture nominee did not win makeup, hairstyling when there was a Best Picture nominee, because The Joker was nominated and it lost to Bombshell. So if we were going to hold up with the stats that generally a Best Picture nominee wins in this category, also in 1917 was nominated. That Mank is the only Best Picture nominee here. And I could see them giving Mank makeup and hairstyling, definitely for the period. And there's a lot more that needs to go into makeup for black and white, but I'm not predicting Mank. This is kind of a hopeful prediction where I'm going with Pinocchio.
Really?
I'm worried that a lot of people are being dismissive of Pinocchio, that it's just family, they're thinking, oh, I don't need to watch this movie. And they don't think that they don't want to waste the opportunity to give it to a more important movie, right? But what the film is able to do with makeup without any use of visual effects is completely stunning. And I think if they just were forced to watch them all back to back and just watch what they did for, and not just on Pinocchio, but also for the fox and the cat and the other puppets. Even Roberto Benigni looks so old now. Well, I guess he's just old.
Well, that was a long time ago when we saw him win for Life is Beautiful.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, I loved that Roberto Benigni got to be in a good version of Pinocchio finally. This was it deserves to win, and I think because Ma Rainey is gonna get costumes and they want to spread it out, I think enough people, especially since Pinocchio managed to sneak into costuming as well, that's what gives me more confidence in saying I think it will win makeup and hairstyling. If enough people liked it to give it the nomination also in costume design, I think it wins here because it deserves it.
Make a really good argument.
I will say this is my riskiest. This is my most out on a limb, out on a nose.
See, if you win it, you're going to be trumpeting this for years, like my production design for Lincoln.
Because I also thought about how Il Divo was nominated, but that didn't win either.
No, didn't win. You're talking yourself out of your pick,
if that had won, I feel even more confident, but I'm still going with Pinocchio just because there's got to be something that shakes it up a little bit. So
And that definitely would.
And we have a much more international voting than we've had in the past. So maybe.
All right. Well, we finally have a disagreement there. All right. Let's see if that happens on the next category for best cinematography.
Well, there's an interesting mix of color palettes throughout the whole of the film. And a lot of the FBI tends more towards the drabber browns and oranges, or very cold blue. Whereas with the Panthers, you have a much more vibrant color palette with a lot of greens and yellows in it. And so it was trying to subtly differentiate those two worlds, but not in a way that would make them so disconnected that we didn't believe that they were existing at the same time.
In the broad sense, I had this idea that the flashbacks would be sort of more sculpted, or they would have more shape, or they would have more texture, and the contemporary Victorville stuff would be slightly more modern, like in terms of lighting. There's moments in the film that are kind of 1930s glamour, and then there's moments in the film that are definitely noir, and there's moments in the film that are definitely more cinematic. We're converting 3 dimensions to 2 dimensions, and one of the things we do in color photography is we use color to explain depth, and when you have the absence of color, really distills it down into sort of this very bare bones, I don't want to say elegant, but there's opportunity to be a little bit more nuanced in terms of how you explain to the audience where to look in the frame.
Yeah. I think more important was just to find a language for the film that I haven't done a Western, he hasn't done a Western. So that was the most important, the most interesting part of the whole thing. You know. We knew there's some shootouts and stuff, but just to find a modern look at the Western as a genre was the biggest challenge, and combine Paul's relentless documentary approach to filmmaking, and I think I just brought something else just to make it a little bit bigger than just chasing somebody with a camera. So even though the whole movie was shot handheld, it's just nice to be restrained. You're just making it, everything becomes more personal and more better observed, and also was just probably playing against cliches. I think there were 2 cliches that we successfully avoided. I avoided the crane, and Paul avoided the bar scenes.
There was one day where Joel Cohen visited the set, and I look up and there's Joel Cohen watching me filming Fran with a little LED on a C-stand. I was like, we're really pulling out the stops here, Joel. I hope you appreciate this. This is it. This is my biggest lighting setup. In terms of equipment, this one, I knew that we needed to be as nimble as ever, but also it needed to feel like a voyage through this place. It needed to feel like movement. We have a character on a sort of voyage of discovery. And so I really wanted the audience to feel like they're moving with her through these places. So what we did was we chose the Ronin 2 gimbal because it was small, and we have one Alexa Mini on the gimbal the whole time and another one just ready to run a gun and shoot. And it just made us really flexible to any situation, really.
Because I really didn't want just talking heads. I always wanted to maintain some connectivity between the characters. There's all these reactions, of course, when one is on the stand. So I always try to set up shots that keeps the group functioning as a group, and be able to see the dynamics within the defendants, because they're not always on the same page, and a lot of the most interesting stuff that's happening dramatically and also in the writing, but visually I had to find a way to cover that quickly, was how they also interact and how they're from different groups, so they have different approaches to how they're handling the pressure of a trial.
All right, so I'll get us started on this one. After I saw Mank, I thought definitely winning cinematography. Just like I said, for production design, I think it's gorgeous, and I'm a sucker for black and white. But then I saw Nomadland, and I thought that movie was just so beautiful. I still want to see it on a big screen. I didn't get to, but I just see Nomadland winning that. I don't think there's enough love there for Mank to win in this category, although even it just won the American Society of Cinematographers, which now gives me a little pause. But yeah, I'm still going to stick with Nomadland. I think it still wins here. Garney, what do you think? I think that when you have just cinematographers voting, you get Mank winning because of the technicality involved with it. Because there's some people that think that Nomadland is just sort of, well, of course you're just going to shoot during magic hour and take out your camcorder, your digital portable stuff. There's not as much prep. There's not as much. That's just the timing. But these are actors. These are a lot of actors voting here, and they're going to be taken with just how it paints America. Just looking at the nation and to be able to watch it now when we're in quarantine, we can't go outside, and this movie is just all outside. I think Nomadland wins it. And also, aren't the cinematographer and Chloe Zhao, they've been together since the beginning, and they have like a relationship now, so it'd be nice for them to both be able to, Joshua James Richards, for him to also have an award to take home. And Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, this felt like an easier pick a couple days ago until the Cinematographers Guild went with Mank. But like Garney said, there's a history of them giving their award to a film more like Mank than Nomadland. So basically, you're taking BAFTA or Cinematographers Guild, and I rode the BAFTA wagon. The last 8 BAFTA winners matched with Oscar here, so that's a pretty good streak. So I'll stick with it with Nomadland.
Yep. All right, so let's get into another acting category. I have a feeling we're all going to agree on this one. Best Supporting Actor.
That say you hoped for a confrontation with the police, that your plans for the convention were designed specifically to draw the police into a confrontation.
Well, if I'd known it was going to be the first wish of mine that came true, I would have aimed a lot higher.
It's a yes or no question. When you came to Chicago, were you hoping for a confrontation with the police? I'm concerned you have to think about it.
Give me a moment, would you, friend? I've never been on trial for my thoughts before.
When I dedicated my life to the people, I dedicated my life. You did? Man, it wasn't until Menard when I realized what they meant. Because in order to survive in there, a part of me had to die, man. You couldn't have told me that when I got out, that I had every reason to live.
Every time that I thought I would last for long, now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes, it will.
All I want you to do is just sit. All I ask is if and when you cannot just sit, you turn yourself to the pen and paper that I'm going to supply for you. And I want you to write. Doesn't matter what you write, how you write, whether it's spelled correctly, or if it's just a big mess. I don't care. No one will read it, okay? But I want you to keep writing continuously without stopping until you feel like you can
You happy?
How you get keys to a hot car?
And you think in your mind I'm gonna pick up a stone fox and this bad motherfucker right here and start it up with a goddamn screwdriver in the ignition? I had my boy replace the lock, motherfucker. Come on, man. God, dog, man. Can you get that motherfucker off me now?
Wow, Bill.
All right, so Garney, tell me you're going out on a limb on this one, man.
As much as I would like to see Paul Raci win, this is
that'd be cool.
This is the easiest call for the acting. It's Kaluuya.
Yeah.
Even with Lakeith in there, there's no splitting of votes. It's Kaluuya's.
Yeah, I think. Well, go ahead, Mark. I'll let you go first.
Okay. I just want to say I was wrong about a lot of things this year, and I'm usually not that great at calling it too far out. But I did call Kaluuya winning this the second that trailer came out. I was on a podcast back when I was with the award circuit, and Clayton Davis told me to watch that trailer real quick before the podcast started, and I said Kaluuya's going to win the Oscar. I didn't know if it would be lead or supporting, so I can't say that. But yeah, he just looked exactly what you get from that movie, which is it's my favorite performance of the year. So I can't wait. I hope he wins. I think he will.
Yeah, I think it's. And what do you think about the controversy too about the fact that he isn't supporting? You know, I've seen one of the anonymous Oscar voters was even talking about that. Like, you know, why is he in? And we had this argument every year with Oscars. You know, why some get thrown into supporting than others. You know,
to me, when it's like this, when it's an ensemble, I just want everybody in the same category. I don't care if they both went lead or both went supporting. It's the same thing to me. So to see Lakeith and Kaluuya both show up here, I think that's good enough, right? Whether they're co-leads or co-supporting like an ensemble, I think they had equal weight to the film, and it's good to see them both show up here. So,
and I think between the two, if you're going to put one of them in lead, it would be Lakeith because it starts with him. And just even the title of the movie, it's Judas and the Black Messiah, not the Black Messiah and Judas.
Good point.
So it makes sense for Kaluuya to be supporting to Lakeith instead of the other way around. I would have had more of an issue if they had done it that way. Kind of like with Training Day, where they put Denzel in lead and Ethan Hawke in supporting. It's like you're kind of following Ethan Hawke into Denzel's world, but because he's such a larger than life actor, I would make the argument that both of them should have been supporting actor.
It's a good point. Yeah, this is again one of the most easy ones for the night. It's definitely Daniel Kaluuya. I mean, has anybody else won this category this year so far? I don't think so.
Just critics awards, nothing big. Right. Kaluuya won SAG, Critics' Choice, BAFTA, and Globes, which is the big four.
All right, so now we'll get to the categories that involve a lot of the post-production work, and one of those is the category of visual effects. And I will tell you ahead of time that this is one of my most difficult ones this year. So here are the nominees.
What do you think we're seeing?
The detritus of a coming war.
All right, so Mark, why don't you get us started in visual effects? Make me feel better about this one.
My favorite stat, and I think I pulled this stat out. I probably should pour that later. My favorite stat, it's just tea. My favorite stat in all of Oscar And what cost me your Lincoln pick, because I went with Life of Pi because it matched this stat, was, the stat is 17 of the last 20 winners for visual effects have also been nominated for production design. The 3 that were not were Spider-Man 2, Ex Machina, The Jungle Book, I think, were the 3. So I must have taken, I'll have to check my stat. It's either 17 of 20 or 16 of 20, and I missed one. Because I'm pretty sure the reason I went with Life of Pi was because of that. But anyway,
stat, though.
it's still my favorite stat. So
yes.
So I'm going with Tenet because that's nominated for production design, and Midnight Sky is not.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's between the Midnight Sky and Tenet, because Midnight Sky won the Visual Effects Society, correct? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then when I was looking, I hadn't seen Midnight Sky, but I was looking into some of the visual effects work in it, and it did look pretty extraordinary. And it is a space movie, so it might be a little bit showier. But yeah, the fact that Tenet, is nominated in another category, and especially when you said that stat now, Mark, you did make me feel better. So thank you. I got to go with Tenet. Like I think it needs to win something, So I'll pick that one here. Garney, what do you think?
I'll say it backwards. Tenet. It deserves it. It should win it. I can see people like wanting to punish Christopher Nolan for his ego and wanting to give George Clooney something, and then also what you say about it being a space movie typically takes the visual effects award, but I think you got to give Tenet something this year.
So now let's get back to, now that we get the film shot, there's all the stuff, all the post work. And this is the first year now we don't have 2 sound categories, so we don't have to debate the difference between sound mixing and sound editing. Now it's just best sound. So here are the nominees this year.
Left to 100. And go. I shoot, you go. Is this heaven?
No.
Is it H-E double hockey sticks?
Hell. Quiet, coyote. It's easy to get turned around. This isn't the great beyond. It's the great before.
Say again. Oh, it sounds like weird. How about now? High power. Oh, that's bad.
All right, so I will get us started in this one. I think this should be another easy one. It has sound in the title, and sound is so much of what makes Sound of Metal such an amazing experience, because you actually get to experience what he's going through and how the sound is, and just everything about the sound in that movie is just amazing. So I want to say this is an easy prediction. I don't know why I don't feel that great about it. Maybe just because Sound of Metal is not winning a lot elsewhere, but I think it wins here. So Garney, what do you think?
I agree, it's Sound of Metal, and I think it's a pretty easy call, but I will say that this traditionally, the sound categories like to go to musicals or war movies. And while Sound of Metal has some music in it, it's definitely not a musical.
Right.
And so I could see how Soul could be getting a lot of votes.
That's the one I kind of worried about.
in this category, but I think at the end of the day, it's got to be Sound of Metal.
Yeah. Mark?
Yeah, I think it's interesting that the Sound Guild split on it, with the editors going with Soul and Greyhound, and the mixers going with Sound of Metal. Greyhound would be my choice as far as if I had a vote. I thought, the movie was okay, but the one thing that stuck with me through the whole thing was the sound was pretty awesome. And a lot of times, like you mentioned, war movies and musicals win, and Greyhound's, I think, the only war movie on that list, unless you count News of the World with the gunshots. I don't know. But yeah, Sound of Metal. It feels.
And also,
it feels
Greyhound is really impressive because you have, in the water, above ground, in the air. So there's all these different aspects you have to consider.
Yeah, I'd like to see the upset there, but we'll see.
All right. Now let's go to the category of film editing.
No, Dad, why do you keep going on about Paris?
You told me.
No, I didn't.
I'm sorry, Anne, you told me the other day. Have you forgotten? She's forgotten. Paris. They don't even speak English there.
If society was throwing us away and sending us the workhorse out to the pasture, we workhorses had to gather together and take care of each other. And that's what this is all about.
I just thought that you were...
Drunk?
Yeah.
Really drunk?
Fuck. Yeah.
Well, I'm not. But that's good, isn't it?
I think you should leave.
Turn them around and slow them down. It's like the Alamo back here. Turn them around and bring them safely back to the park.
We should be marching right up to them.
I don't think they're gonna surrender, man. Keep them moving. Dave and I are gonna stay and make Tom's bed.
So Garney, what do you think here?
I think this is the toughest category to predict.
Yep. Well, I'm not saying the toughest. I still think there's one toughest still to come. But I agree.
Okay.
This is my second toughest category.
But this is the one where I could really see any of them winning. Just looking at especially and with Trial of Chicago 7 winning the Ace Award, gave it new life, because it was looking like this could be Sound of Metal's to steal. In the beginning, I was thinking, this is Trial of Chicago 7, but Sound of Metal kept winning everything. The father is so reliant on the editing. Promising Young Woman is the editing with the way the story's told and how it matches up to the music. And then, of course, Nomadland, where you're piecing together the story. Any of them could win. In the end, I think that Trial of Chicago 7 has to win something. And I think that's why I'm ultimately, this is the one that's changed the most for me. I've had it, Sound of Metal. I've had it, Trial of Chicago 7. I've had, maybe this is where they give something to the father. But in the end, I'm going with Trial of Chicago 7. It's the most showy editing movie that was won in the past. I'd feel a lot better if it won at BAFTA. But I'm sticking with Trial of Chicago 7.
All right. Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, you guys both kind of hit on it. There's three categories that I'm still just like, I don't know what the hell to do, and this is one of them. I also have gone back and forth between Sound of Metal and Trial of Chicago 7. When we first saw Trial of Chicago 7, that was like I felt it had editing in the bag already with that. But the Whiplash wins, I think, are what a lot of people are comparing Sound of Metal to, because there's drums and stuff in it, I guess. But Whiplash ended up winning, I think, both sounds and film editing. So if you're following that trail, then that's what I think leads people to Sound of Metal. But I know I'm going to go down with the ship on this one, but right now I have Trial of Chicago 7.
Well, I'm sticking with Nomadland. Again, it's Chloe Zhao doing the editing also, which gives her a chance to be a multi-Oscar winner. I can see, but I think it's between this one and Sound of Metal. Like for some reason, I love Trial of Chicago 7, but I didn't see it winning anything. I just felt like it was going to be that one kind of, because it's the way in the Academy's changing. How the Trial of Chicago 7 would have been the kind of movie that always won Best Picture, but now it's I don't know, they're kind of seem to shy away from it a little. So I just sense that it's going to walk away with nothing. So I'm hesitantly going for Nomadland. I want to almost pick Sound of Metal.
Would that be because if she wins director, screenplay, and as a producer on picture and for editing, for the same movie, that hasn't happened yet. We've had 3.
No, we've had 4. Warren Beatty and
Clooney, maybe.
Who was the other one? Who was it?
Clooney won 4 maybe one year. I don't know.
No, not Clooney. He was nominated for 1 year. No, it's been 2. I know it's Warren Beatty and God, I can't think of the other because Warren Beatty.
I know that Cuarón was up for that many for Roma, but they didn't nominate him for editing.
But he only got
cinematography.
Yeah, he got 3 that year.
Cinematography, international, and director.
Yeah,
because he didn't get screenplay.
Right. But there was one other, but I can't think of it. But yeah, that I don't know. I just kind of see kind of Nomadland, and again, it's sort of like the Best Picture kind of, it usually wins a few other awards. It doesn't walk away with just 2 or something like that. So I just think it's going to be another one. And we always used to look at film editing as the one that kind of lined up with Best Picture. So yeah, I definitely have a lot of difficulty in this category, but
I know Beatty's been nominated for 4 in the same year, but he didn't win 4 in the same year.
Beatty? I thought he did.
Reds, no.
Because Reds didn't get Best Picture. Reds, he got director.
Maybe I'm thinking nominated.
But that was all he got.
Because
did Reds get screenplay? Did he work on the screenplay for that?
Garney, look this up on our next break.
All right. I would think that if Chloe Zhao wins 4 for the same film, it's a record. The only person who's won 4 in the same night is Disney, but for different projects.
Maybe, yeah. Okay. But for some reason, Garney, I just think that it happened twice where someone did win, but prove me wrong.
Okay.
Can't think of it.
Okay. All right. Now we're up to the music categories. First, Garney, did you have an update for us on?
Yeah, well, this is great because you got people nominated twice in this award, but I can't believe I didn't think about Bong Joon-ho won 4.
That's right, recently.
Director,
what the hell?
Screenplay, international film, and he tied Walt Disney. So they're the only 2 people to win 4 in the same night. Bong Joon-ho's the only one to win it for the same.
So let me ask you too, because I thought international film doesn't go to the filmmaker. I thought it went to the country. Is that not? Did they?
Well,
does IMDb have him listed as the winner?
I mean, I know he.
Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure about that.
So we'll have to
he'll
come
go
back
up and he'll accept it. But if you look up, who's won the most Oscars in one night, it's the answer is Bong Joon-ho and Walt Disney.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
I wonder if he gets like shared. I forget how that worked. Anyway, cool. I don't know how we forgot. He just did it.
And Warren Beatty was nominated. He has a record for the most nominations for one film because he had 5 nominations for the Heaven Can Wait.
Heaven Can Wait.
With picture, director, actor, screenplay, and there was something else, and I don't have it.
Cinematography. Editing or cinematography, probably.
I could have been counting wrong also.
Okay, so I had my stats. I just always remember the Warren Beatty stats, so I thought but man, that would be even a more remarkable achievement if Chloe Zhao does win 4. So very cool. So thank you, Garney, for that.
And I was just thinking it also because Walt Disney would hate that he's sharing that record with a couple of Asians. He would hate it. So I hope it happens.
Yeah, even better reason. All right, so let's go to the music categories. Let's begin with Best Music Original Score. right, Mark, why don't you get us started here?
Soul, even though my favorite is Minari, however you say it, I can never do it right. Soul.
Yeah, I got to say, these are all great scores. I loved all these scores. Even the minute that I was watching News of the World, I was just like, this has got to be nominated. I've enjoyed listening to all of these scores immensely. I'm such a huge fan of Da 5 Bloods. I'm glad to at least see the score nominated. But yeah, it's Soul. This another easy one for the night. Garney, what do you think?
Yeah, it's Soul. I would actually, if you're going to give it to Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, I like Mank more for what it does as being evocative of the period music. This is one of the only times I will say I like Mank more.
I'm just glad to hear you say that.
But the score for Minari, I love the music that composer did for The Last Black Man in San Francisco that went unnominated. So there's sort of a compound love for that because of the music in Minari is gorgeous. But I think Soul I like they're sharing it with Jean-Baptiste before, and it was when they were just recognizing the score and not the jazz that Baptiste had contributed. It was angering. But now that you're recognizing all three, it's a score about music. It has to be Soul.
Yeah, it's one of the easiest ones of the night, I think.
I would have liked to have seen Da 5 Bloods not get nominated just so we could have made room for Tenet, which
that's another score.
Ludwig Göransson did.
Yeah.
That score it has the spirit of the film within it. You play it forwards and backwards. It's genius. It's on another level. It's not as pretty as the other nominees, but it definitely deserved recognition for a nomination.
I agree about that. Yeah, because that was one of the things that hits you in that theater, because that was the first movie that I think probably all of us went back in the theater to see, and just that experience of like, oh yeah, Nolan, that music, it was just So, all right, so we agree on that. This is a category I'm very interested to hear you guys' predictions, because I don't know which way they're going to go, but here's the nominees for Best Music Original Song.
Confusion seems the only solution is a new evolution. We can't take it no more. No, it can't be ignored. When they knock down your door, will you be ready for war? Freedom 'cause they need us. Free from how we see
All right, so I'll get us started here. So I think we argue about this category every year. You know, it's Jamie especially. I loved how pissed he would get about this category. And you know, this year we seem to have like we got the cause songs, you know, that are all that I would kind of lump together. I can't really say that I remember them much apart from one another. You know, like they don't really stand out. They're good and they've got like messages to them, but I can't say that, oh, this is a memorable song. However, Husavik, I love that song. And I think it's the absolute deserving winner in this category. Even though I haven't seen that movie, I didn't even know about this movie until the song was on the short list. But I got to pick it. I can see them going for one of the cause songs, but I really hope they give it to this. I just think it's a wonderful song. I think it's the best one on this list. So, Garney, what do you think?
Well, I'll fight for you, Jason. Hear my voice. I can speak now. It's seen that Husavik deserves to win.
Yes.
But now, having said all the titles in that ramble, it's going to be Speak Now. And if it's not Speak Now, I think the Husavik has a great shot because it is the song that's most prominently featured in the film. I think I haven't seen the one with EOC, the Life Ahead. I think that Diane Warren, having been nominated so many times, and she is out there campaigning her butt off.
I know.
Like I think she recognized that this is like the closest she's been. So I can see her winning a lot of voters with that. So I think that if EOC wins, which is a beautiful song, it wins because of Diane Warren. But I think Speak Now wins because it's Leslie Odom Jr., who's also nominated for supporting actor. It's a great song. It's the way to honor One Night in Miami. There's too many reasons for it to win.
Yeah, I can't really argue. That's what I think will win. It's just, and I love One Night in Miami. I know you do. You had it like set number 2 on your campaign. Yeah, I love that movie. I think it's an outstanding movie. I wish it had been nominated for a lot more. But the thing too about Diane Warren, she reminds me a lot. Remember Randy Newman had to go how many times before he won?
16th.
Yeah, 16 times, and she's up to what, 12?
Yeah.
She seems to be that one that just, along with Glenn Close, that has yet to win an Oscar. So I feel like if her name was more prominent, maybe she would. And the song is good. I agree. Like these other 2 songs compared to the other 3, I like those other 2 more. They stand out a little bit more to me. But yeah,
Randy Newman's cousin Thomas Newman has been nominated, I think, 15 times. God, so his next time would be tying him up.
God, he's another amazing composer too. He should have won already. Well, Mark, what do you think?
This is one of those 3 categories I mentioned that I'm still not sold on, and I think what they all have in common is there's like more than 2 people that I could see winning, right? You said it. Husavik is, in my opinion, the best of the 5, right? It's the most Oscar-y. Diane Warren is all you have to say for The Life of Had. And then Leslie Odom Jr., who, like Garney mentioned, is nominated for supporting actor, but he's also in Hamilton, which is like one of the most beloved plays and a big thing this year.
Yeah.
So what the hell do you do? I'm probably going to end up sticking with Speak Now because of the Hamilton. I think the Hamilton factor is what I'm weighing in more than anything. But yeah, this category is a mess, and
it is.
You could also make a case for Fight for You being the most nostalgic, how it sounds like the Sly and the Family Stone of the time, and that performer having just been on Saturday Night Live and performed at the Super Bowl. She's definitely on the rise there, but in the end, she's not Leslie Odom Jr.
Yeah,
that's true. Well, yeah, I don't feel good about it. Damn it. You guys didn't help me here. You didn't help me feel good.
Hey, man, I'm rooting for you on that one.
I would love, Husavik has a sentimental vote for me.
Yeah.
But if I were marking down a ballot, I would still mark down Speak Now.
And believe me, I had that there. Because I feel like it is going to win, but it's just.
And I think the Will Ferrell factor helps and hurts it.
Right.
Because Will
Like, that's what I
Ferrell,
don't know what to do with it.
you know, he makes it more prominent, and him being there. But when he comes in, it just gives it that goofy, da, da, da. It's like, oh, you kind of ruined it from being a beautiful song.
Yeah.
And he's not trying to. It just happens.
It just happens. Yeah. It's just, he's one of those, he's hard to take seriously. So it's,
Yeah.
All right. All right. We got 4 categories left, the big ones. Let's get to the category of best achievement in directing.
It's a theory that comes from a man who actually claims this and protects this idea that if you've been drinking a little bit, your mind opens up. You don't look back. You become more receptive to other people. You become more creative. And he points at big, well, we all point at big elements in world history. We've been discussing if Churchill was a little bit drunk when he decided to send 250,000 civilians into war. You know that he was a little bit drunk every day, so there's a good chance that he was drunk at that moment as well.
He doesn't want you sitting in the trailer all day. It's like rock and roll. You just burn from the first bar. You're in there early, you're rehearsing at sometimes 5:30 a.m. You're shooting sometimes by 6:30, 7 a.m. And then you are shooting. And he wants you in front of the camera.
And I still don't know how this has all happened. I feel like I came to peace with the idea that maybe I'll never make it, and you know, my work will always be rather obscure and all that stuff. And I came to peace with that, and I'm still at peace with that. And then to come out the other side with a film like this, it's kind of all the sweeter that I've recontextualized myself in a way and understanding what's important in life. Like I do feel the stuff with just being with my wife and all these different things. It's just that's the meat of life, and I hope that comes through in the work as well, the film.
The trick is to make people feel like, oh, they just showed up and did it, right? Which majority of things in Nomadland is completely planned and staged, but it's done in a way through cinematography, casting, and editing that make you have a feeling of like you just showed up and this happened. And so for me, that authenticity of that world is very important to me, because I like shooting with wide angle lenses, which means I put very little between the audience and the characters. It's very important that world around these characters look and feel authentic.
But the first real thing that came into my head was the scene on the bed when she's drunk saying, "What are you doing?" and then sits up and is sober and says, "What are you doing?" That was just the whole movie almost, really, is "What are you doing?" Because I kind of knew who she was then. Although this is a very specific film about a very specific woman, it's also a kind of allegory, and it's also got a lot of fairy tale imagery and all of that kind of stuff, because it's certainly, to me, speaks to a much bigger thing, which is a kind of parable of the unbelievably fraught relationship between the sexes.
All right, Garney, what do you think?
I think it's ridiculous that it took this long for more than one woman to be nominated in the same year. And I think it's also ridiculous it's taken this long for another woman to win. I think it's amazing that this year, if you look at the Independent Film Awards, all women nominated except for Minari. So I think that this is a very great representation for the year, what they went with. I love that Vinterberg is in there. But this is Chloe Zhao's. If Nomadland wins only one award, this is the award it wins.
Yeah, Mark, what do you think?
Yep, completely agree. She'll be the second female director winner.
Yeah, and I agree, Garney, with everything you said. Like the fact that it took this long to get 2 female directors in the same category, but then how long it's been since one. It was Catherine Bigelow was the last one, and even before her, I mean, she was the first.
Well, she was the one that won, but since her, we did have Greta Gerwig nominated for Lady Bird.
Yeah,
that's right.
But yeah, I agree. If Nomadland wins nothing else, it wins this one, because this. Well, I don't see anyone else winning here.
And completely deserving, not just
Yes.
because she's a woman, not just because she's Asian. It's what she did was revolutionary with this film that feels both nonfiction and fiction at the same time. The way that she mashed that together, she did something completely new.
Yeah,
and she deserves it.
Yeah, I think if you really look at the making of Nomadland too, because if you look at it, you might think, oh, you had the discussion earlier tonight about how just like simple it might look, but it took a lot of work to make it to be that intimate and to be that expansive, and I just think it's such a film of the moment as well, and I just think she deserves it. It's not just because she's a woman.
I wouldn't vote for it. I don't think it's the best film of the year, but I do think that she deserves Best Director.
Well, no, thank you, Garney. You make me feel better. All right, so let's go to another one that I think is probably a lock. It has been for a while, but interested to hear what you guys will say about it. Here's Best Actor in a Leading Role.
Yes, sir, to whoever I please. What you got to do with it? I know how to handle white folks. I've been handling them for 32 years. Now you gonna tell me how to do it? Just because I say yes, sir, don't mean I'm spooked up by him. I know what I'm doing. Let me handle it my way.
Well, go on and handle it then.
Toledo, you're always messing with somebody.
You know, ain't said nothing about you. He ain't said about me. You just taking it all wrong.
Ain't meant nothing bad, Levy.
Levy got to be Levy. You don't need nobody messing with him about the white.
I feel as if I'm losing all my leaves.
Your leaves?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
The branches and the wind and the rain. I don't know what's happening anymore. Do you know what's happening? All this business about the flat. I've no way to put my head down anymore.
I see you more as Dulcinea.
Who?
Dulcinea, from the Spanish for sweetness.
Ah.
Her hair, gold. Her cheeks, roses.
Nice.
Her lips, coral. Her neck, alabaster. Her bosom, marble.
Marble? Maybe, once.
Ivory her hands, and her whiteness snow.
또 올려. 똑바로 올려.
괜찮아, 괜찮아. 아유, 이제 다신 안 그러면 되지 뭐, 그지? 이제 나도 할머니 노릇 제대로 할게. 응? 오케이?
가서 해초리 가져와.
애를 왜 때려?
해초리 갖고 와.
All right, so Mark, are we correct that this is pretty much in the bag?
I don't know. I don't think it's a lock, but I think it's a strong front runner. I just think it's hard to count Anthony Hopkins completely out of it. BAFTA was a mess this year with acting nominations because they tried some jury thing that was ridiculous. But Boseman was nominated for BAFTA, and Hopkins beat him there, and that's not too much a surprise. It's a British Academy, but it's enough to make me, in the fact that it snuck into Best Picture. I think that's the one I didn't call. I'm getting in, so that shows there's a little bit of love there. So I have Boseman winning, but I'm hesitant to call it a lock.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously Anthony Hopkins winning recently gave me a little pause, but just I think the thing is too, like sort of what we said about Chloe Zhao. I think Chadwick Boseman does deserve it. I don't think it's just because he died. Like that performance is so instrumental to that film, and it just for that speech that he gives about his past, it hits you so hard knowing that, and obviously his death kind of added to that. But I think he deserves it, and I think I just don't see them awarding it to anyone else besides Chadwick. So Garney, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm sticking with Chadwick for my my prediction, and he deserves it. I think that monologue is incredible. I think that there's this factor with Hopkins where he won what, 20 years ago 30 years ago.
30 years.
Oh God, that's 30.
29
Let's pretend it's
years ago
20.
for Silence of the
Let's pretend
Lambs.
it's 20.
And for that to be the guy who won for Hannibal Lecter would also win for a guy with Alzheimer's just says so much. Yeah. And while I agree that this is an award that Boseman gets on the merit of the performance, if he were alive, I think there would be a sentiment to give to Hopkins, knowing that Boseman can win it further down the road.
Right.
And then also would be a closer race where you'd have Riz Ahmed, because what he did was just completely transformative, learning ASL and everything that he went through. These are 3 performances that are all worthy of winning an award. And unlike Boseman, both of those actors are in Best Picture nominees. And Best Actor normally goes to someone nominated for Best Picture. I think the exceptions being Jeff Bridges and Denzel Washington, just in the last 20 years, right? So I think that there might be some voters who think Boseman's been winning everything already, and they just recognize what Anthony Hopkins has done is the best performance of the year. He's in the whole movie. Definitely a lead actor, because you could argue that Chadwick Boseman is in the actor / supporting balance there. But these are all just reasons for why some people are going to vote for Hopkins, but I don't think that they're going to miss this opportunity to award Boseman for an award he so clearly deserves.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned Riz Ahmed too, because I think in any other year that performance would win. And that was such a moving performance. And he does so much just in his expressions, not even through dialogue, just his eyes, just watching as he experiences all this and the change that he has to experience in his life. It's so moving. So, but yeah, I think it's Chadwick. All right, well, let's get to it. This is the category that is giving me the most angst. I still don't know exactly, and it's my turn to lead off, so I'm going to have to make a decision finally. But here are the nominees for Best Actress in a Leading Role.
I want to be treated no matter how much it hurt them. They're back there right now calling me all kinds of names, calling me everything but a child of God. But they can't do nothing else because they ain't got what they wanted yet. Soon as they get my voice down on one of them recording machines, then it's just like I be some whore and they roll over and put their pants on. They ain't got no use for me then.
You think I'm gonna stop singing that song? Your grandkids will be singing Strange Fruit. You stupid bitches don't got shit on. Suck my black ass.
We need some justice here.
No, you need. That is what you want. That is what you need. That is your way. That is not my way. That is what you need.
Martha, if you had done it my way, you'd be holding your baby in your arms right now.
But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou walkest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe and eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee.
Beautiful. I thought we had a connection, I guess.
A connection? Okay. What do I do for a living? Sorry, maybe that one's too hard. How old am I? How long have I lived in the city? What are my hobbies? What's my name?
All right. Well, I'll go through my thought process through the season. Okay. So once I saw Nomadland, I was like, Frances McDormand, without a doubt, needs to win a third Oscar. I just thought, and especially when you read about Frances McDormand and this performance and how it's one of the closest performances to herself. And I see a performance there that is just extraordinary. But then the film season starts going on, and then Carey Mulligan wins. Like she won the critics, right? But she also won something else, right?
She won the SAG.
No, she didn't win SAG.
Oh no, she won critics.
That's what, I'm about to get to SAG. SAG screwed me up.
I'm in the wrong page. She won critics. Yeah.
So Carey Mulligan wins there, and then I'm thinking, okay, maybe she's got some momentum going for her. And then Viola Davis wins at SAG. And I always, the one SAG win that always sticks with me is when Halle Berry changed the race when she won for Monsters Ball at SAG, and that led to her Oscar. Because I think it was Sissy Spacek like all season long up to that point. So, God, I just don't know what to do here. I really don't. And then because you could also consider Andra Day in here. There's a lot of talk about her as well. And that's a powerful performance. The thing about this, these are all amazing performances. I mean, these are incredible, so well-deserved nominees. I don't know. I want to lean towards McDormand. I feel like there might be more love for Nomadland. But I'm going with Viola Davis. The SAG thing got me, and I don't know if there's like, the SAG winners all came out, they were all Black winners, and when there's so much talk about diversity and all of that, the Oscars would probably love that kind of headline as well. So I'll probably change it every single day, but it's because I could see 4 of these winning. I think the only one that doesn't has a chance is Vanessa Kirby, which is a shame. It's a great performance too, but I mean, it's the only nominee for that film. So I reluctantly go with Viola Davis. I hope I'm right. But see, that's the thing. I love her in Ma Rainey, but I love Frances McDormand as well. And it's like, I'd be happy seeing either one of them win. And I'm trying to lean towards the fact that, Nomadland will probably win Best Picture and Frances McDormand gets an Oscar there. Maybe that's their chance to look at it and say, oh, okay, she's getting a third Oscar there. But all right, I'll go with Viola. All right, so help me out here, guys. Garney?
This is a tough category to predict. And it's interesting that if Viola Davis wins, she won supporting actress for Fences, which is, I think, clearly a lead role. And then Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, even though it's the title character, it's kind of a supporting role. But every time she's on screen, she just commands it. And it is a powerful, powerful performance, worthy of an award. But Carey Mulligan.
I had a feeling that's what you would.
Carey Mulligan, Promising Young Woman. The entire movie rests on her performance. If there's anything that seems inauthentic, or if she just doesn't, there's such a tight rope that she dances along in this film, where the mood keeps shifting, and she needs to be in that moment. I think that for someone who's been nominated before that hasn't won, that has such a prominent role in the film, that is also a movie of the moment, right up there with, I think Ma Rainey's sort of reflects on of the moment, whereas Promising Woman is of the moment. It's just right up in there.
Yeah.
So I think that Carey Mulligan deserves it and will win it.
So Mark, what do you think?
So my personal favorite of the group is Vanessa Kirby, and she's the only one who hasn't won anything, right? McDormand won BAFTA, Mulligan, Critics' Choice, Underdog Globes, and Viola Davis SAG. So I'm going to push her out of the picture for a second. I don't think Frances McDormand, her of the 4 wins, BAFTA's kind of the least weighted, I guess you could say, because she only had to go up against Vanessa Kirby of her nominee peers here, right? And I don't know that she wins a third. That's so hard to do. I just don't see it. So of the other 3, I love Carey Mulligan. I wish she would have won already. I mean, you could name a couple movies that you could see her winning for, like Shame or Inside Llewyn Davis. but I'm gonna put her third because I don't think it's her year. I think this year, you kind of mentioned it with like SAG with 4 minorities, people of color winning the acting awards, and you have Globes versus SAG. The last time a lead actress did not win SAG or Golden Globe first on the way to Oscar was 85. So those 2 awards kind of hold a little more weight here, apparently, or at least have. So you're between the young ingenue who Oscar usually loves, or you've got Viola Davis, who now holds the record for the most nominations ever for a Black woman. She's got 4. And this is where I said earlier, like, I've got Maud Rainey is winning 4 awards. I don't see that happening. Which one misses or 2 misses? So I'm really tempted to switch to Andra Day, but I'm right now I'm rolling with SAG and Viola.
You made me feel a little better.
Don't.
But thank you.
don't feel better.
But this is one that it just is a nail biter for sure. I mean, it's you could make a case for almost any one of them. So
good.
Yeah.
Except Kirby.
I think it's interesting that Andra Day is would traditionally be the one who would get it based on what the Academy does, but being the only nomination. I mean, if US versus would have gotten it, even just in production design, costume design, just one other one, I would be that much more tempted to say, I think Andra Day, the ingenue, playing a real life person, transformative role, something that, yeah, it's a tough race.
It is. And another interesting stat too, if Viola Davis and Chadwick Boseman win, it'll be the first time since As Good as It Gets, I think, that the lead actor, actress are from the same film, which has only happened a few times in history.
And wouldn't it be the first time that it ever happened from a movie that wasn't nominated for Best Picture?
Ooh. I know it happened for Cuckoo's Nest. It happened for As Good as
yeah, Cuckoo's Nest and Coming Home. Coming Home was nominated for Best Picture though. So
yep. Because this is a stat that I'm like,
first time.
This might be the first time that it wouldn't for not a Best Picture nominee. So
yeah.
Okay. Well, before we get to the big category, I wanted to ask you guys a question too about obviously the change in how the Academy Awards are going to be this year because of the COVID stuff. And we've seen different awards shows do different things this year. And some have done it really successfully. Some have been not so successful. I actually am kind of excited. I think this might be one of the most exciting Oscar shows they've ever done. I think the way it sounds like the producers are talking about, like, kind of doing it sort of as a movie kind of thing. I think they have a real opportunity here to kind of do something really interesting. And so I like the little teases that we're getting. What do you guys think about how this year will be?
I'll be honest, I haven't really been following, like, even you put up your cover photo has the ensemble, and I've purposely been avoiding it because I want to go into this ceremony not knowing anything. I want to just like from the beginning, like, oh, I didn't expect that person to be there or whatever. I mean, I've seen the headline stuff to talk about Central Station and having different venues.
Yeah.
But I haven't really read any of the stories. But also follow that with, I really could give a crap about the ceremony itself. I love when there's a host and like looking forward to that opening monologue. But then once that's done, sort of like, all right, just give out the awards already. That's not, the pageantry isn't really what it's about for me. It's what it does as far as looking back at the year in cinema and talking about, like, I don't even give much stock to what they give the best will be the best to be remembered. It's really just the recognition of everything.
Yeah.
For me, nomination morning is better than the awards themselves.
Yeah.
That's the best part. When you get to the nomination morning, then I just realized it's going to be a long 3 months of listening to people talk about the same stuff.
Good point. Mark, what do you think?
Yeah, this has been obviously the longest Oscar campaign of my life. So I have, like Garney, I haven't paid attention really about the ceremony itself. I'm excited to watch and see what they do, but I'm more excited to just be done with it. It's, between not seeing the movies in theaters or at film festivals and being stuck at home. And, on top of it, I wasn't really a huge fan of anything this year. There's no movie that I would die for kind of deal. And the ones winning aren't what I would want to win. So it's just, I'm kind of looking forward to it. Not to be a party pooper, but looking forward to seeing what 2021 does.
Well, and now that we've kind of gotten to when they not announce nominations, I kind of wonder why they extended it. Why did they even extend the season? They
were hoping COVID would be as far behind as possible so they could do something. But
I think it was just as whatever they could do to make it happen later, just for the chance that they could have the red carpet and everything.
True.
Right.
Okay. Well, let's get to it. Final category, Best Motion Picture of the Year.
What's the matter, Dad?
Strange things going on around us.
Don't worry. Everything will sort itself out.
Saw it in his eyes, didn't know who I was. It was like I was a stranger to him. Just did something to me.
I don't know what she's cooking up against me, but she's cooking something up.
What are you talking about, Dad?
I'm not leaving my flat! I am not leaving my flat! This really is my flat. Isn't it?
Imagine what we could accomplish together. We can heal this whole city.
You ain't tell me it was gonna be like this. These ain't no terrorists.
We got a rat, man.
Does anybody else know about me?
No one knows your identity.
Are you sure?
We educate, we nurture, we feed, and we lobby. Perhaps we're here for more than just war with these bodies. We scream, and we shout, and we live by this anthem.
Herman Mankiewicz, New York playwright and drama critic.
Turned humble screenwriter, Mr. Hearst.
This is a business where the buyer gets nothing for his money but a memory. What he bought still belongs to the man who sold it. That's the real magic of the movies.
Thunder, lightning, blood, fire, religion.
Help! Someone save me!
All in one film. That's director proof.
That's why I always want Mank around.
We need to find water somewhere. If that soil ain't wet, we're gonna lose a crop.
결혼하면서 했던 말 기억나? 미국에 가서 서로를 구해주자고 했던 거.
기억해.
One of the things I love most about this life is that there's no final goodbye. I've met hundreds of people out here, and I don't ever say a final goodbye. Let's just say I'll see you down the road. And I do. I see them again. And I can be certain in my heart, I'll see you again.
What are you gonna do?
I don't know.
Why do you guys have to ruin everything? We were kids.
If I hear that one more time, I have to give him the benefit of the doubt. I was hoping you'd feel differently by now.
It's every guy's worst nightmare getting accused like that.
Can you guess what every woman's worst nightmare is? I wanted to be a doctor my whole life. Lately, I've been feeling like I might want to get back into it.
Reuben, the world does keep moving. It can be a damn cruel place. But those moments of stillness, when this crappy, mundane world suddenly becomes radiant and magnificent, all the fear is gone. That place will never abandon you.
This is what revolution looks like, real revolution. We may have to hurt somebody's feelings.
Is
this prosecution politically motivated?
I'm tired of hearing you. It would be impossible for me to care any less what you are tired of.
Here I am! There will be order!
We have to find some courage now.
How much is it worth to you? What's your price?
To call off the revolution?
My life.
All right, so Garney, it's your turn to get us started here. Will we see a surprise in Best Picture?
You know, I feel because the season has been so long that this year could be a surprise. There's something about it that it feels like those years when Best Picture goes to a movie that didn't even get a director nomination, you know, like when Argo won. And so, I mean, I could see a surprise going to like Trials of Chicago 7 or Judas and the Black Messiah. I kind of feel that kind of a buzz happening where people want to say, well, look, let's give it to a movie that is of the moment, that is also an entertaining film. And as much as I would hope that would mean Promising Young Woman would win, because that's what I would vote for. But in the end, I'm predicting Nomadland. I think
You're kind of leading me to an exciting, like risky choice here, Garney.
Yeah, no, it's just Nomadland is just too, it's too much of the year. There's too many people that are going to recognize the achievement that it is. It does such a great job of showing the state of America without doing any finger pointing, you know, where it's like, you know, there's none of this like pointing the finger at the establishment. It's just sort of, this is the way the world is. And while we can do better, there's not this, a lot of people complain that Nomadland doesn't do enough talking about how terrible the working conditions are at Amazon. And it's like, I like that it didn't do that. That it was just, this is a movie about one person going on, and then you're just part of that journey, that you don't have to sit there and listen to like messages and politics. There's just human existence.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, I'm Nomadland, you know, I mean, even when I did a consensus of what our top 10 would be based on our choices, even though none of us picked Nomadland as number one, Nomadland still comes out number one when you weigh out the points.
I had a number one.
Oh, you did have it as number one. Why do I keep thinking that you had One Night in Miami as number one? I think it's because I'm so surprised you had it number two. Okay, yeah. So we agree with you, Jason. Nomadland.
All right. So Mark, what do you think?
So I think I was the last man standing on Trial of the Chicago 7, at least from every corner of the internet that I saw. When I saw Trial of Chicago 7, that's I was on it, and that was the one that I had winning. And really, the reason for it was, by then we knew Nomadland was going to be a strong contender, and I looked at the two, and one of them you knew was going to get a SAG nomination and potentially win it, which it did. And the other you knew probably isn't going to even get nominated for SAG. And to not get nominated for SAG, man, that is a huge red X or red flag, whatever you want to call it. Most of the Nomadland cast is made up of non-actors. It's part of what makes it so such a genuine movie, right? Is that these are real nomads and whatnot. So saw a lot of that coming. Knew Nomadland was going to get DGA. Knew Trial was going to get SAG. What I didn't see coming, or what I wasn't betting on, was the PGA, the Producers Guild, going to Nomadland. That was like the final test of the two, because the Producers Guild uses a preferential ballot like the Academy, and I didn't think Nomadland would do so well on one, because it felt like a lot of people would have had it number one or number 6, 7, 8, somewhere in there. Whereas Trial of Chicago 7 felt like a movie everybody could feel good about having 2, 3, whatever. So when that happened, that's when I made the switch. Now, in between there, Trial of Chicago 7 also lost WGA. And man, I'm telling you right now, if Trials of Chicago 7 had won the Writers Guild and SAG and ACE like it did, I would be picking Trials of Chicago 7 today to win Best Picture. But without that WGA, which I think is, along with the acting, its strongest element is its writing. Aaron Sorkin.
Oh yeah.
It's just impossible for me to do it. But like Garney, I think I could see a crazy outcome, because of this crazy year. It feels like it needs to end on a crazy note. And wouldn't it be something if something like Promising Young Woman, a movie that, not a typical Oscar movie, won, or if the ultimate movie representing this year, maybe Judas and the Black Messiah, whose whole, if I'm not mistaken, its whole production crews African Americans, or Minari, an immigrant story. Like, I mean, there's so many cool twists that could happen that, if any of them did, it'd be pretty awesome. So I'm hoping for an upset, and I don't care who. Just something to make this year end on an exciting note. I'm not a huge fan of Nomadland. I had it, I think, number 8 on my list for the year. But again, I didn't really love too many things. There's probably 4 or 5 movies that I liked a lot and a bunch that I liked. So would love to see the upset, but I have Nomadland.
Well, in addition to the all-black production team for Judas and the Black Messiah, it's also the movie that is from a studio, which traditionally that's Hollywood rewarding itself. So there's a big case to be made for Judas winning. It would look historically great. It would be great for the industry. It's a movie that's out there still in theaters. That's, you can do the premium rental, but that's I could see. Well, I also want to point out Minari. I think Parasite winning last year hurts it.
Yeah.
Because it sort of makes it, if Parasite had gone as far as it did and then just almost and only took international feature, that might have helped Minari to win.
That would have been both my number ones winning then, 1917 and Minari.
Yeah.
Motherfucker. Am I allowed to swear on this?
So
yeah, it's and the thing about Judas and the Black Messiah winning is that it's all been on the rise. Like I think it's still on a rise. So that one would not surprise me in the least. All the cases that you made, I think, could make a case for that. And like you said, this crazy year, it could be a complete surprise. Because I could see a number of these films winning. Well, except for Mank. But yeah, I got to go with Nomadland. I mean, obviously, I did love it. It's my number one.
Mank would win if this were the 1980s.
Yes, exactly.
It's the coffee table book movie. Mank is the movie that looks the best on the coffee table. It's like, ooh, this
coffee table
right next to The Last Emperor, and then here's Platoon.
Hey,
ooh, Out of Africa. Let's look through these pages. Yeah, no.
Jeez.
So Mank feels like the movie that would have won in the 80s.
I agree, but yeah, I think it's Nomadland. I think it. I obviously personally love it, but I think it is a movie of the moment. I think it speaks so much to 2020 and the whole reset of people's lives. And I think it's just, yeah. All right. So that is our predictions, you guys. So thank you again for kind of getting this crazy year figured out, and look forward to seeing how we do. So any final words, you guys?
Was I the only one not wearing pants? No, I'm just kidding. I'm wearing pants.
This is the Zoom moment when we reveal what we have on underneath.
Well, I'm wearing shorts. Like actual
I'm wearing shorts. Yeah. There we go. But anyway, thanks you guys really for making this possible. Thanks, Garney, for giving me the extra oomph to do it again this year. So we'll see how it goes.
Good luck, guys.
All right. Zoom out.
Zoom out. Thanks everybody for watching.